Yesterday we looked our part one, if you like, of looking at the SDA Church. And we looked at the fact that, look, if Summer could have been taken away, could that have been done by the church? And the truth is, yes, it could have been. Is it likely? Is it going to be some people's sort of the thing that they lean towards? Some will, some won't. Do I lean towards that? This channel isn't about me changing my mind every 5 minutes and thinking that's what happened, that's what happened, that's what happened. This is about looking at all of the possibilities and adding weight to them or taking weight away from them. Looking at all of the probabilities as a community, not being arrogant enough to just form one sort of idea of what happened and to tell everybody else that theirs doesn't matter and theirs is irrelevant because it's not one that we agree on, we believe in. Nobody here, nobody on this channel, nobody around here will ever rubbish someone for their opinion. But anyway, I digress. So the church, are they good or are they bad? I think there's an argument either way. What do we know? We know that there are some strange characters. We've got Robin herself, who did have a close connection to Summer. She did, and she's quite a quirky character. But remember back to when the search was commencing, and that quirkiness was ramped up somewhat. Oh, I'm excited. Snacks. It's a bit strange. It's a strange reaction to have when a little girl who you've got such a connection with is missing. She's missing. You are actually searching for a child. All of these things that you have trained for and your handbooks are for has suddenly gone into practice. And I just found it a little bit strange for this person who, from the outside, looked to have such a connection to Summer, would react in such a way. The fact we touched on that Candus had rung her. And you could argue that, like some people quite rightly said, maybe Candus reached out to the person who would offer her the best credibility. Well, I can't be bad. This can't be my fault. Look who my friend is. Robin from the church. We're friends. And by that connection, it somehow raises her class. But was there another reason? Was Summer missing longer than what we are led to believe? And was Candus thinking this is where Summer could have potentially gone? She could have gone to Robin. Did Candus think, is this a drill? Has Summer been taken? And if she was going to be taken and there was going to be a drill, who would be the people involved in that? Candus would go on to ring her numerous times, and that call would be ignored. Robin would ignore that call, and she would only actually answer the phone when David Dotson called her. We have David Dotson. We also have the behaviour around the church that even though they saw that this little girl had gone missing, they provided a conduit to children through their own media presence. Let's not forget that this church is surrounded by registered SOs, but yet they parade children around online like candy on a stick. Something doesn't sit right with them. But even though you've got the likes of David Dotson and his connections to a funeral home and a crematorium, some people are thinking, hold on, Don said that you'll never ever find her. And you're right, from a more macabre perspective, the only way you could truly say that no one's going to be found is if they are indeed in a situation that would mean that they would never be found. And that doesn't include things like burial, because you can always find a grave. Unless it's under concrete foundations alongside somebody else who hasn't been found for many years. Or indeed cremation or similar. I'm not so sure that the cremation situation is a viable one, because I don't know how David Dotson would have been able to do that. It's not quite as simple as people think. You know, crematorium, he doesn't no longer work for the crematorium for a start, so there's a lot more moving parts involved in that. And you would perhaps have to argue, would the SDA Church, even if there is nefarious activity in the background, would they risk being caught on Don and Candus? So if they were to do something, would that have included Don and Candus? Or would that, in their eyes, have been too much of a risk? And I'm just putting that out there because we can talk about this together. You can tell me what you think, because I myself cannot conclude either way with regards to the SDA Church. Is there something that doesn't sit right? Yes, they're quite cultish in the way that they operate. Again, Robin with her behaviour when Summer went missing. The fact that David Dotson had been around the property, and I believe at some point he claimed that he didn't actually know where it was, which was a lie. It's hard to say. Summer did have an issue with someone in that church. Summer would run around, she would play, she would be the vibrant one in there, running around and interacting. But we saw a video, we all saw it, where she was staring across, and I believe it was at David Dotson, who was trying to entertain someone. She was having none of it. I may have got that wrong, it might have been Tim, but I'm pretty sure it was David Dotson. And Summer didn't look happy. But all of a sudden something happened and they severed ties, they walked away. Some of you may have seen the video the other day that was of the SDA Church were all around, and Tim Mullen invited everybody to say a word of encouragement, some words to Candus. And what was there? A deathly silence. So that goes to show that in the grander scheme of things, how this family was seen by those who would sit around them while they are in church. I don't believe the church accepted them. I don't believe that the church liked them. But would that be enough to make them make a decision to do something that didn't include them? Did they report to CPS what they were seeing? If they didn't, why didn't they? Did they have plans of their own? Because they would have seen firsthand what was going on. And for some reason, like I said, Candus did feel the need to call Robin. And she called her for a reason, whether that was indeed to try and raise her own perception within the people around her. Maybe she felt that that would get her seen or taken notice of. But where are you with it, with the church, the SDA Church? You know, we know that Don, he stated that she would not be found. We know that Don was unable to say that he would want any punishment to come upon those who are involved in Summer going missing. And are we led to believe that that is simply because of his utter faith in God? But then, wouldn't he have simply said that it would be down to God to deliver said punishment. Who knows? I don't know where I am with the SDA Church. I do know that something doesn't sit right with the SDA Church. Something doesn't sit right with David Dotson. It certainly doesn't. He seems to have a fondness to the younger lady. But maybe that's just a midlife crisis. And again, we do know that he has connections to a funeral home and crematorium. And we do know that the church has in the past previously been entangled in children and adoption situations. We know that they have the facility to facilitate adoption situations. But then, why wouldn't they have just taken the legal route with the Wells, unless, again, this was to be done behind their back to protect Summer? Summer went somewhere that day. She went somewhere. Now, Summer either walked off of that premises herself and came to harm, or this was planned. She was taken by her parents and given to someone. That we can pretty much guarantee. There was, right at the beginning of this case, there was a situation where it would appear that Don returned home twice. He returned home once at around 4:30, and then again later on when the report was put in and Summer was reported missing. There was a short video that showed Don filming out through his truck, and the truck he was in was the white truck, not the red one, not the red Subaru. So at some point during that day, Don was in the white truck and not the red Subaru. Let me know if you remember seeing that clip, because there's more to this than meets the eye. Was this family moving Summer away, and were they using the church to do it? Let me know what you think. There is something that's not sitting right here. There is something, but I must admit, right now, I can't quite put my finger on it. But there will be a part 3.